attack now. Can he hang on in the OVO Energy Tour of Britain? Lines up for the sprint. Can he steal this one? 1 kilometre to go now. Is he going to take the stage? Yes, he is.
Hello and welcome to highlights of the first stage of the OVO Energy 2019 Tour of Britain. You find us in Kirkcudbright, next to the River Dee, as the riders head here from Glasgow after this year's Grand Depart. Last year's race was an absolute cracker. If they have even half the fireworks this year, well, it's going to be a fantastic Tour of Britain. Welcome to the sunshine here in Dumfries and Galloway. It's a lovely day for the first stage of this year's race. Welcome also to Janto Barker, who'll be joining me every day for live coverage and highlights of the OVO Energy Tour of Britain. And Janto, it's been a brilliant race in recent years, none more so than last year, with Julian Alaphilippe winning the OVO Energy green jersey and taking the GC. And of course, he then went on to have a fantastic Tour de France. Who are you looking at this year as being a contender?
I think there's a couple of big names. I don't think it's as obvious like there's going to be an absolute out-and-out favourite, but there is a time trial. I've said it before that that will be a huge factor into the race. So people like Alex Dowsett, Pavel Sivakov, Mike Turnison, who have really good time trials. There are also going to be time bonuses and sprints, and I do expect the gaps between the riders in overall GC on stage 8 to be quite close.
You raced the Tour of Britain many times yourself. How does it compare to other similar week-long stage races? How difficult is it?
I mean, it is very difficult, but it's not the Dauphiné, which is obviously in the high mountains and equally is only a week long. But it's all day, every day. You have to be very focused and vigilant on what might happen, turn left and right with the wind. There are steep climbs that come out of nowhere and aren't even categorised, and that's something as a rider you have to keep an eye out, and you're always listening on the radio to get that information to make sure you're in the right position. So, yeah, you have to stay alert.
There are 8 stages ahead on this year's race. Let's have a look at the route now.
This year's OVO Energy Tour of Britain starts in Scotland with Stage 1 running from Glasgow to Kirkcudbright. Stage 2 is the border stage, starting and finishing in the market town of Kelso. The riders head south into England for Stage 3, going from Berwick-upon-Tweed down to Newcastle-upon-Tyne. Stage 4 takes the peloton across the Pennines to the Cumbrian town of Kendal. Next, it is south to the Wirral Peninsula and Birkenhead for Stage 5. Then, the potentially decisive Wychavon individual time trial around Worcestershire. A hilltop finish in Burton Dasset Country Park is the backdrop for Stage 7, before the final charge around Manchester and the crowning of the 2019 champion.
In recent years, the race has visited pretty much every corner of Great Britain. As you can see there, we're very much focused at the top of the map this time, the other side of the wall, and they're going to crown the King of the North in Manchester this year for the first time. I think you can see where I'm going with this. Very much a Game of Thrones this year, Janto, but which stages stand out as the Queen stages?
To me, I think it's stages 6 and 7, which is Burton Dasset and the time trial. And I know how teams focus on GC. They actually isolate the areas in the race where they think they can really make a difference, and I think those two stand out to me as where we'll see the favourites really starting to push on and try and make a gap.
There is an awful lot of foreign talent here at this year's race, but it's also special, especially so for British pros racing on their home roads. Let's hear from some of them now.
This is the first time that I'm back in Britain in a British team in the British national jersey, so it's super excited. We know what Britain's like. There's no super high mountains. It's hard racing every day. You've got to be attentive all day, every day, really, and it's really very much take your opportunities, race as a team, need strength in numbers, and then the road will just decide. And then, obviously you've got the time trial coming up, but fortunately for me, that's only 14k.
Ineos have bought a strong team. You hope that they kind of argue amongst themselves about who's actually leading and whatnot. You can't ignore Matthew van der Poel. I've never raced against him, but he's good. He's very good. Otherwise, I think we can cause some trouble as well. We've had a tough couple of years, but we're a set of really strong riders that we really want to do well, and we'll give everything we have.
I love it. There's no place like home, and to come home is always really nice. And I love going out on my bike with my mates on the roads that I always rode on when I was a kid, and then to come and race here as well is I really enjoy it. To win the home tour, I don't know. I'm not a GC rider out and out because I'm not the best climber and I'm not the best. So you have to win with opportunity and hold your own on those other disciplines, and that was what I managed to do. And as the race has grown and grown over the years, you get better and better riders, and it becomes more and more, you're like, well, how am I going to win against this one or this one? What are you going to do? And yeah, it was really super.
Really great to hear from the three of them. Great to see them on British soil. Another rider I'm really pleased to see in this race, Janto, is Mark Cavendish. Missed out on the Tour de France, but here he is back amongst the home crowd.
Definitely. We've seen him actually deal with quite a few ups and downs in the last couple of years with his illness, and then obviously not getting selected for the Tour, which I think he was a bit upset about. But I see someone here now on his home roads resetting for what he's going to hopefully achieve in the future, and I think I'd really like to see him do well and then go on to do back to what we know he can and be his best.
Plenty of other talent to get excited about this week as well. Let's hear from some of them now, including, well, he's the star of the moment really, a proper all-rounder, the cyclocross world champion, Matthew van der Poel.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's my first experience with the Tour of Britain, so I've raced here European champs in Glasgow already last year, so we have better weather today, so that's nice already, and I'm looking forward to the race.
I think it's a long race and hard race, so we have to see we try to find some opportunity to do a good result, and I expect a good week.
Not so much of the British weather today, it's great.
Yeah, we are surprised when we came yesterday. That was really the Scotland weather maybe. It was rain and windy, but yeah, today it's really nice, so we can enjoy.
Yeah, well, we have some opportunities with the sprint with Jens. We have a time trial in. Me and Alex will go full. And maybe I will try also for the GC. And but we're looking day from day. I think the first goal is to win the stage with the team.
I'm sure you do, like me, absolutely love seeing some of those well-known names, new and old, at the Tour of Britain this year. But Janto, who's going to light it up, at least in the early stages, do you think?
I think the first couple of stages is going to be very controlled. I think today is going to be a bunch sprint, and my prediction is Groenewegen for the win. OK, and looking at the week as a whole, who's going to be up there on GC as we head into Manchester? I think you've got to look at the time trialists, so Sivakov, Dowsett, Pollitt, and maybe Landa. Yeah, Mikkel Landa. Point to prove, perhaps. He's moving teams from Movistar at the end of the season. Keep your eyes peeled for him. OK, let's have a look more closely now at today's stage.
The 2019 OVO Energy Tour of Britain rolls out of George Square in the centre of Glasgow and heads south towards the first iceberg sprint of the day in Kilmarnock. The peloton continues through Ayrshire, and there's a flurry of activity with two more sprints interspersed with the first two Skoda King of Mountains climbs of Lambdowty Hill and Dalmellington. There's a final King of the Mountain climb at Bankhead before the riders head into Kirkcudbright and the finish of Stage 1. Glasgow is hosting the Tour of Britain for the 6th time, and it all starts in the beautiful George Square. Kirkcudbright is a traditional fishing port in the mouth of the River Dee, often called the artists' town due to the generations of craftspeople who lived in the pastel-coloured houses just off the harbour.
That is it from the banks of the Dee for now. Let's get straight to highlights of today's first stage of the 2019 OVO Energy Tour of Britain with your commentary team, Rob Hales and Marty McDonald.
Thank you, Matt. The rollout here from George Square in Glasgow, a venue for many amazing cycling events over the years. It's a beautiful sunny day for the riders. There's Rory Townsend in the blue from Canyon DHB, Top Sport Vlaanderen. You'll be watching out for them there in their white blue and yellow colours, the pink and purple here of EF Education first. Rob, a really good field assembled here, definitely with designs on the World Championships coming up.
Most definitely. Obviously, we are missing DeCoiney Quickstep, which is a huge loss to the race. Apart from that, it is a huge field that we've got.
The riders are rolling out the neutralised section here. And so for anyone that's watching that's new to cycling, the neutralised section just to sometimes gets us out of a city, again, gets us a few kilometres down the road, just to sort of before racing proper starts. So racing proper starts at kilometre 0, but it's an opportunity, isn't it, as you see in the peloton, catch up with your buds, have a little chat, and just sort of
bit of a
see
chat.
what they've been up to.
Yeah, turn the legs and just get the body ready for the racing. And today, fortunately, we've got the weather. It's been absolutely superb today.
We're going to take a short break. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to stage 1 of the 2019 OVO Energy Tour of Britain. As usual, the attacks came thick and fast from kilometre 0. Eventually, 6 riders managed to break clear, with teams Jumbo-Visma and Ineos controlling things behind, keeping them on a tight leash. At the first iceberg sprint in Kilmarnock, it was Dries de Bont of Corendon Circus who took all 3 points on offer. As we join the race, they're approaching the first Skoda King of the Mountains climb at Lamb Doughty Hill. So over to our commentators, Rob Hales and Marty McDonald.
First Skoda King of the Mountains of the day, Lamb Doughty Hill here. This is 98.8 kilometres to go. The climb that we have, the first categorised climb. It's a Cat 2. And now you can see James Fouché pressing through to the front here. 1:23 is the time gap back from this group. Bagdonis on the back here, so they'll be battling it out for the points at the top of this one. It's a Cat 2, so 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 points are on offer on Lamb Doughty Hill. 2.7 kilometres in length, average gradient of 5.7%. Now we're getting into the really lumpy part, the middle part of this stage now, Rob. We've got the categorised climbs, we've got an intermediate, we've got another iceberg sprint in the middle, then another Cat 2. They all kind of come together in quite quick succession here.
They do, and this is a point where the riders will know it's coming up, and this where you've seen the riders drinking, eating, nutrition. They know that there's a period here of quite sustained expenditure, and so that's where you've got to look out. And it starts to climb up. There's a little bit of water on the side of the roads as well, which, well, it's not going to cause too much of a problem here at the moment.
Back to the breakaway. The long shot here, and Dries de Bont, after a lot of chat going on in that one. Rory Townsend started to move through towards the front. Jake Scott there. You can just see this kicks up. You can see the outriders in the background. The peloton at just 2 minutes. You'll be able to just about see that. All the fans out here on the first King of the Mountains point of the day. De Bont for Corendon Circus. Everybody is talking about his teammate Mathieu van der Poel in terms of not just a potential winner of today's stage, going up against the likes of Dylan Groenewegen in the sprint. Can he take the general classification in this race? Everyone just looking around at each other now. Bagdonis goes. Jake Scott now starts his sprint for the top. He's missed out previously in the King of the Mountains classification, and you can see already that Jake Scott doesn't want to leave this one to chance. Takes maximum points at the top of that climb. Lamb Doughty Hill, King of the Mountains 1, Category 2. Jake Scott took that ahead of Bagdonis, Fouché, Townsend, de Bont, with Pascal Incorn on the front, sweeping up that 1 point. Let's go into the intermediate sprint. 1 kilometre to go to the iceberg sprint. Let's get Minas Bagdonis on the front here, lining up for this one. The flags are flying on the side. It was Dries de Bont of Corendon Circus that took that first sprint of the day. Bagdonas is looking good, but he's missed out in both the Iceberg Sprints classification and the Skoda King of the Mountains as well. Rory Townsend, you can see here for Canyon DHB in this breakaway group, and expect to see this rider on multiple occasions this week getting into the break. And again, you can see everyone just posturing for position here, trying to line up for this sprint.
Yep, and it's Dries Bont there in second position at the moment. He took maximum points earlier on, and so we'll see him trying to set himself up. He won't want to be on the front all the way into the finish, I wouldn't have thought, as he swings over to the right, as Townsend has a little go, but the road was shut down.
Rory Townsend goes. Gedminas Bagdonas reacts here for AG2 Le Mondial. Townsend shifts up through the gears, trying to lead out for this one again. It's between Townsend, Bagdonas and de Bont. Townsend throws his bike at the line. Little glance back there by Gedminas Bagdonas. But Rory Townsend, you can see there, fully committed.
Yep, difficult to tell from the head-on shot, but Townsend really took it on. Made sure he didn't get himself out of position, and certainly looking at the back wheels there, looked like it was Townsend.
The Dalmellington sprint, sprint 2. Rory Townsend taking that one. So Bagdonas taking second, de Bont taking 1. So Rory Townsend, great result there in sprint 2.
So we can see just a little bit more impetus now being set on the front of the peloton. And it's Pascal Incon on the front, Cohen Baumann in second position. And that gap, 1 minute and 30, so they've just brought a little bit of time back. I think they rode over the over that first climb just a little bit steadier. That time gap went out a little bit, and we could find that happen again in a moment. They're just playing to their strengths, using the flatter section of the route.
Dalmellington, King of the Mountains 2, Category 2, 6.1 kilometres, average gradient of 2.4%. Russ Downing is back with us. Russ, what have you made of the stage so far? Fairly sleepy start to this year's race?
Yeah, I don't know about sleepy, but I think at one stage there, it got back under a minute, didn't it, the gap? So I think that was, was it just before the feed zone? So I think people were getting a little bit nervous. The breakaway were relaxing, so yeah, it's an exciting stage for sure. And I don't think they're going to give them any more leeway now. They're going to start and have a play, I think.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the gap, you know, the breakaway have got to get to a point where, again, they face off against this peloton, try and push this gap out. It's getting to that point where you've got to try and trick the peloton, isn't it? It's trying to open the gas, get someone in that breakaway, someone as experienced as Gedminas Bagdonas that says, right, let's go again, take it up again, try and pull out another. We saw it going up to nearly 2 minutes. Can we get it up over 2 minutes again, that gap?
Looking like it now, I wouldn't have thought so. You know, they're on a climb now, so they're riding a great tempo here. So, but yeah, you see, the boys have been out there now for what? Yeah, 120k or something. It went pretty early, didn't it, this breakaway? So, yeah, they've got some tiredness in the legs for sure.
That's the thing, is it? When you look at the numerical advantage, still goes to this group here in terms of they've got 5 riders, and there's pretty much only the 2 riders on the front of the peloton at the moment. But there are fresher riders to come in. We've still got 83k to go, and that's the thing. That's where it plays to the part of the peloton, because there are those guys, as we were talking earlier, the likes of Townsend, Jake Scott. They're not trying to get to the finish line. Their finish line is either the final of the King of the Mountains or the intermediate sprints, if that's what they're going for. Likewise, you've got riders on the back in the peloton. Their finish line isn't the finish. Okay, they've got to cross it, but they're not trying to get there as quick as they can. They're trying to get to certain points, whether it be 30k to go. You ride the 30k to go, and then someone else will take over, and then the next rider will take it to 15k, 10k, and then the lead-out men, it's all about into the final couple of kilometres, and then you get down to you kind of take it to 300, 250, 200 to go, whatever it is.
Here we go, opening up for the sprint at the top. Jake Scott, James Fouché. Scott taking the first climb of the day, takes maximum points again for Swift Carbon. So Fouché takes that one. Townsend gets himself up there in third. We'll get confirmation of all of the placings throughout that one. But look at this, Jake Scott. We've seen him in King of the Mountains jersey a couple years ago, looking to try and take that one. So 12 points in total today. There's just one climb to go on to Dalmellington, King of the Mountains 2. Jake Scott taking that. Fouché, Townsend up there as well. Pascal Inkhorn on the front of the peloton taking that one. So 12 points for Jake Scott in the King of the Mountains. We're going to take a short break. Back soon. 1 kilometre to go to the final iceberg sprint of the day. So through that point, our breakaway group, De Bont up there in those sprints early on. Rory Townsend here in the blue of Canyon DHB. He's in this break with the objective to take that jersey. Canyon took this one last year with Alex Payton. And Rory Townsend will want to make sure that he finishes the day in that jersey, but he's got competition from Gediminas Bagdonas and Dries De Bont here. De Bont just adjusting the computer on the bike, lining up now for this sprint. James Fouché is on the front and now trying to deliver this one. Townsend just looking around, doesn't want to make any mistakes this time.
Nope, not at all. He's got to get this right now.
Now they open it up. Rory Townsend. Here comes Dries De Bont, though, from the back of the group. Bagdonas through. But Rory Townsend, has he timed this one? Rory Townsend takes the final sprint. Good move there by the Irish rider from Canyon DHB. So Townsend takes that from Bagdonas and De Bont. Sprint 3. Rory Townsend follows that up with another set of maximum points in that competition, taking 3.
Happy birthday, Dad.
There you go, happy birthday, Dad. I know his dad's been a massive support.
Happy birthday, Dad.
There you go. So happy birthday to Rory Townsend's dad. And Rory has, again, back into, finished uni as well. Rory Townsend, sports physiology, I think he was studying at university. But there you go, Rory Townsend's dad. Happy birthday. Never forget
So that attack at the start was just a mum and dad's attack, was it really? And it's just it's
whatever motivates you, isn't it? Yeah, whatever motivates you.
But no, happy birthday, Mr. Townsend.
It probably means that he forgot to get him a card or a present.
Something behind it, isn't there, for sure?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, if he's a typical bike rider, he's definitely forgot the card.
There's the King of the Mountains start, the final climb of the day to Bank Head. 2.8 kilometres, average gradient of 3.1%. Can they now press on with this? This is the final points on offer. There you have it, confirmation. Bank Head, category 3. And it has been up and down all day throughout today's stage. So by the end of the day, they will have climbed 2,150 metres in total.
If any of the other teams at this point now want to put the likes of Jumbo-Visma under a bit of pressure, they're getting into the realms of the part of the race where they need to do that and they need to commit up towards the front. Israeli Cycling Academy starting to move up on the left-hand side here, we can see. And Mitchelton Scott now, the first time we've seen them up towards the front on the right-hand side, left-hand side of the gutter, left-hand side for the race.
So the Mathieu van der Poel fans have been out. So, go Mathieu van der Poel. So there are many of them. 27 seconds is your gap. There's your Swedish national champion there, Lucas Eriksson, moving up in that blue and yellow jersey of the national champion, Madison Genesis, getting up here as well. So good to see the colours of the Madison Genesis team up towards the front. Matt Holmes, it looks like. There's Matteo Trentin just on the right there for Mitchelton Scots. Ben Swift moving through as well. Corendon Circus keeping Matthew Vanderpool well to the front here and out of trouble. The team cars all being kept to the side now. Here come Movistar as well.
Yeah, Movistar and Sunweb starting to move themselves up as well. Since Bowl for Sunweb. No doubt the rider they're looking after. But this is where it really starts to get nervous now.
Jake Scott pressing on here, looking for the final King of the Mountains maximum points. Good to see the young fans start them young along the side. Can he take maximum points at the top of this one? Heading towards the final King of the Mountains point of the day here on stage 1 of the OVO Energy Tour of Britain. The Bankhead climb, average gradient of 3.1%, maximum gradients of 7.5%. That man there, 185 from Swift Carbon Pro Cycling, looking to try and take a commanding lead in that King of the Mountains competition. Moving up there, the third rider there in the green helmet, in the green and white jersey, Mark Cavendish from Dimension Data, looking to really relaunch himself back on to the world stage here. He's had a tough couple of years as Cavendish, and he's got the team in front of him here.
Yeah, he's committed them there. His last win was Tour of Dubai last year, the start of last year. Very lean spell, but that's mainly be through to put down to his illness, obviously, the last couple of years. A glandular fever undiagnosed for around about the season, and really did put him in a hole. But he needs to come back. He needs that win if he can, but he's committed his team there, and well, within sight now. It's the first time they've seen the front of the race peloton for quite some time now.
They had a double take across the corner there. They just saw them coming, didn't they? The rider on the front here, Rory Townsend for Ireland, Jake Scott, and you can see the change here in Jake Scott, seeing that peloton come up. Couple of Ks to go to the summit of this one. You can see the markers on the side. And there's the flags they are blowing here. So the top 12.7 kilometers to go. Can they hang on? It's going to be touch and go on this one. The peloton behind, they're looking like they might want to try and pull this one back and use this final climb to try and pull this breakaway back. National flag of Yorkshire there. We're going there not long now before we head to the World Championships, 22nd to the 29th of September. This is the start of quite a big month in cycling in Great Britain. The World Championships heading over there the first time since 1982 when it was held down in Goodwood.
Well, the wind, you could just see the wind's switched around a little bit. It's still coming from the left-hand side, but it's just a little bit more in the face of these riders, which won't be helping these four out front, certainly. And we saw a visual there of the physical distance between the front of this peloton here, and okay, they are gutter to gutter, which ordinarily you might say, well, they're going steady away, but actually they're not. They're drag racing each other here at this point, and it's not really about bringing these riders back for the top of the climb. It's just the race is taking its toll, and it's underway behind. And for Jake Scott, in third in this in the line here, his priority is to get over the top of this climb with maximum points again if he can. He's taken maximum points on the previous two climbs. Can he do it again? 22 seconds. Well, they've got a K to get to the top, and it looks okay for them. It was looking touch and go for a point, but they certainly can't afford to back off.
Not at all. Jake Scott upping the pressure on the front, does not want this group to come back before the summit of this one. All the fans out all day waiting for the race to come past. Dries de Bont now presses through towards the front, gives Rory Townsend a little flick of the elbow. You can see the fatigue of these riders. They've been out there all day. The breakaway of the day. Just over 200 kilometers now lining up. Jake Scott now lines up for the sprint for Swift Carbon Pro Cycling. Dries de Bont trying to get into the slipstream, but Scott comes over the top of that one. Takes maximum points. The Bankhead climb, the final Category 3 King of the Mountains of the day. Jake Scott takes that from de Bont, Fouché and Townsend. That was the order over the top. We're going to take a short break. Back soon. Here comes Matteo Trentin up towards the wheels of his Mitchelton Scott teammates. Everything again now, the anticipation somewhere for Case Bowl. Could it be him that takes the stage? The Bankhead climb, the final Category 3 King of the Mountains of the day. Jake Scott takes that from de Bont, Fouché and Townsend. That was the order over the top. And Dries de Bont still out in the lead, winner of the Halle and Guilhem race a little bit earlier on in the season. But it's now all about the bunch sprint. 7.5 kilometers to go. This gap from the peloton, they never really gave them much of an advantage. They've just left them sitting out there. For de Bont, maybe he's waiting for this group. Maybe just again, last little bit of effort now. He's got Van der Poel on the front. He'll try and maybe just find that last little bit of energy here. As the peloton go past, the catch is made. Dries de Bont, and they go straight past him. As all of the riders get around, you see de Bont hand up as the peloton go past him at warp speed there.
He got caught out a little bit there. I mean, ideally, he'd have been as far to the right as possible and allow all the riders to move up on the left. But I think before he had time to actually switch out, he was going that back that quick. He just got caught out. Quite dangerous, but yeah, put his hand in the air just to allow the riders to know that he was there. But legs completely gone. And Lotto Soudal on the left-hand side of the screen now. Right-hand side of the road, Niels Pollitt in the middle, Katusha. And Mitchelton Scott on the left-hand side of the road, taking control now, and all of a sudden it's, well, the yellow and black has been changed from Jumbo-Visma. They're just a little bit further back on the left-hand side of the screen now, we can see.
Matt Bostock, you can see in that blue jersey, he's trying to right alongside Van der Poel. We saw Canyon DHB coming up towards the front. They've done the right thing now. There's only so much road. The best thing that they can do is rely on Bostock in the blue jersey. He's alongside Van der Poel to just do the job now. You can only have so many lead-out trains battling for the front. For them, they're better off leaving it to those experienced teams, your Lotto Soudals, Dimension Data, Mitchelton Scott. And you just see Van der Poel there, the rider right in the centre of your picture, wearing 81 in the red and white, just being piloted through towards the finish, and then they'll again just drop him off. Otto Vergada is the rider from Corendon Circus that's keeping Van der Poel towards the front of this one. And Mark Cavendish got quite a lot. He's still got three riders with him.
Cavendish got pretty much, there's Sunweb, Mitchelton Scott and Dimension Data pretty much with the numerical advantage, certainly as it stands at the moment. Jumbo-Visma, well, Jos van Emden, it is moving up towards the front. He's got, well, his teammate, Janssen, Grondal Janssen in his wheel. And then Dylan Groenewegen and Turnison.
So Jumbo-Visma on the right. 5 kilometres now in towards the finish. Mitchelton Scott on the left. Then comes Corendon Circus and Mathieu Van der Poel. The green and white of Dimension Data still very much to the front of this one. Team Sunweb for Case Bowl. Here come the pink and purpley colours of EF Education First. Matt Bostock right in the centre for Canyon DHB. The yellow of Jumbo-Visma trying to bring Dylan Groenewegen up towards the front for another stage victory. You can see with Armin Grøndal Jansen right in front of him.
Sasha Modolo is being brought up. He's just dropped off from his teammate. He's just taken him a little bit too far forward, so he's dropped in on the wheel of Van der Poel.
That's the wheel you can see that most people are fighting for here. Bostock has been elbows out trying to find that one. Mitchelton Scott for Matteo Trentin here. You're seeing Top Sport Vlaanderen up towards the front, and they're trying to bring Noppert perhaps through towards the front of this one, but for Jumbo-Visma, there's Matteo Trentin, 4K to go. Trentin in the black and yellow colours of Mitchelton Scott. Again, know this lead out. Jumbo-Visma, they do, again, Jumbo-Visma, they know how to do, leave it late. They bring Groenewegen through very, very late on, don't they?
Yep, well, they've obviously used two of their riders up to now, Cohen Bowman and Acorn, but the rest are left there on towards the front, and that's where we're heading to. The finish line is down there somewhere.
It is indeed, heading towards Kirkcudbright for the first time, known as the Artist Town. Established back in 1455. Here's Kirkcudbright, the first time that we have visited it here. A lot of excitement in towards the finish. But Mitchelton Scott for Matteo Trentin trying to set this one up. Bostock trying to come back up towards the front. Van der Poel being kept into a strong position. Cavendish for Dimension Data. Again, it's a bit of chaos and mayhem behind. Cavendish just getting distanced a little bit from his lead out.
Yep, and that's one of the problems. This is that's the real technical part there. It's pretty much done. That bend, 70-odd degree bend, the right-hander, and Mitchelton Scott taking control. But Jumbo-Visma, they're up towards the front.
They are indeed. There's Trentin in the centre of your picture. Bernie Eisel up here for Dimension Data. Thijs Benoot and Jasper de Voist are there. Mathieu van der Poel is getting bounced around just a little bit. Armin Grøndal Jansen with Mike Turnison on the wheel, and Dylan Groenewegen right behind him. Here comes Big Connor Dunn, the man that was in the breakaway earlier on in the day. Trying to set this up for Davide Chimolai for the Israel Cycling Academy team. You can see the constant ebb and flow here. Van der Poel decides to dispense with Vergaard in the wheel. Van der Poel now will try and find that wheel that just comes through of Dylan Groenewegen. Van der Poel in the red and white battling to stay up there. Here come Jumbo-Visma, leaving it late. Jos van Emden now on the front. Armin Grøndal Jansen with Mike Turnison looks back to just check where Groenewegen is, and he's not far away from him.
Well, Jumbo-Visma at the moment, they've got the numerical advantage. Mitchelton Scott still up towards the front for Trentin, but when you look in the wheels of Jos van Emden, the time trialist, a superb time trialist, stage winner of a Grand Tour in the time trial, and he's the sort of rider that you want. As one of the GB riders just starts to move up now.
They are indeed. Here come the Great Britain team up towards the front. Connor Swift, I think it is, that's getting up there, and Ethan Hayter, perhaps, that's now moving through. They're looking now for the Flamme Rouge across the road. The Great Britain rider was just trying to lead out there. 1 kilometre to go. Armin Grøndal Jansen on the front here, the champion of Norway. There you can see Dylan Groenewegen right on the wheel of Matteo Trentin. Ben Swift is there. Mathieu van der Poel also very much to the front of this one. Who is going to take the opening stage? Jasper de Voist. Chimolai is also well to the front. Now they take over. It's Turnison now that starts the sprint. They're trying to lead out for Groenewegen. He's got Mathieu van der Poel is just trying to find his way through towards the front. Trentin right on the wheel of his teammates. The sprint now opens up. They're leading this one out. Dylan Groenewegen has a glance over his shoulder. Trentin is poised and ready. Groenewegen is third in line and in a perfect position. Now the sprint opens up. Matteo Trentin, Groenewegen, Swift, Van der Poel and Bostock. That's the 4 across the road. Here comes Dylan Groenewegen. Chimolai's trying to challenge. Groenewegen's got the front though. Dylan Groenewegen takes the first stage here in Kirkcudbright. There you have it. Chimolai, Trentin, Van der Poel, Swift, Bostock, all very much to the front of this one. The boys in yellow. A perfect day for them here. Dylan Groenewegen, after all that work, delivers the stage.
Well, all the riders who we expected to be up there, they were there, and it was Groenewegen showing yet again another stage win at the Tour of Britain to add to his palmares.
We have no help from the other teams, so yeah, we do everything.
with two riders, with Koen and Pascal, and yeah, they did really good, really strong, and yeah, we catch the breakaway, and then yeah, they did a really good lead out, and I can take the win, so it was a good day for us.
So Dylan Groenewegen rewards the efforts of his Jumbo-Visma team, winning stage 1 from Davide Cimolai and Matteo Trentin. The fastest man in the race, taking the win in Kirkcudbright. And that win means the Dutchman leads the general classification from Rory Townsend of Canyon DHB, presented by Bloor Homes, with Davide Cimolai in third. The first OVO Energy green jersey of 2019 goes on the shoulders of Dylan Groenewegen. And the rewards for all their hard work are the Iceberg Sprints jersey for Rory Townsend, and the Skoda King of the Mountains for Jacob Scott of Swift Carbon Pro Cycling. And the new Cetaphil Points blue jersey for Stage 1 winner here in Kirkcudbright.
Fascinating first day's racing, and I'm really pleased to say that joining Janto and me here in Kirkcudbright is Rory Townsend from Canyon DHB. And Rory, you spent most of the day in the break. You hoovered up as many sprint points as you needed to get the jersey, but I'm imagining with the company you had in the breakaway, that was pretty tough.
Yeah, obviously in the end it come down to the last sprint as well. I got a little bit schooled on the first one, and then thankfully learnt my lesson for the final two.
And what's it like riding when you have a cyclocross rider in the breakaway like that, as Dries de Bont is, because he's from a team of cyclocross riders, including Mathieu van der Poel as well, of course.
Yeah. I've raced him quite a lot recently actually, and yeah, his turns on the front, he pulls hard, and then obviously he's very explosive as well when it comes to the sprint. So
I was kind of expecting to see you maybe take part a little bit more in the sprints, but you've gone up the road. Is that something you're going to do instead of the sprints, or are you going to do a bit of both?
It was certainly my target for the day. You know, we're a team that's been supported the last couple of years from Iceberg, and this is a jersey that I sort of had my eye on. But yeah, as the week progresses, I'd certainly like to have a go at one of the finishes at least. We have Matt Bostock as well, who was in the top 10 today. So I think, you know, there's strength and depth in our squad, and it's about balancing everybody's, you know, opportunities.
Fairly lumpy day today in Scotland, another one tomorrow as well. Let's have a look at the stage that is a loop in and out of Kelso.
The peloton heads out of the town with the first Iceberg sprint in Coldstream. The riders then follow the English border towards Berwick upon Tweed. They then turn back inland for the first Skoda King of the Mountains climb of Hardens Hill, which is quickly followed by a sprint at Duns, before the next climb at Scott's View, and then the final sprint at Melrose. One last Cap 3 climb at Dingleton, before a downhill run back to Kelso and the finish of stage 2.
Rory, I know you won today's sprints for your dad. You wished him happy birthday on the live coverage. Feel free to do it again if you like, in case you missed it.
Yeah, happy birthday, old man.
How old is he?
I think he's 56 today.
Is he a strong rider?
He's got calves like concrete, but he puts into good use, yeah, to be fair. So.
The big question, though, is are you going to go for it again tomorrow on stage 2? Are you going to try and get in the breakaway, or are you going to have a slightly easier day than today?
I'll definitely keep one eye on it, but I think you know, I think I'll be looking over the following stages after that. It's an 8-day race, so it won't be my last opportunity.
OK, I'm sure it won't. Rory, really good to talk to you. Janto, thanks to you as well. So do join us live on ITV4 in the morning for start-to-finish coverage of Stage 2 of the 2019 OVO Energy Tour of Britain from Kelso. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.